What's up guys, Yegi here. I am a master lash artist who is focusing on education these days, and today we are going to talk about extensions after a lash lift, when to do it, why to do it, and then we'll go jump into a full-on tutorial of how it looks after a lash lift. So for this client, as you guys can see in the picture, she has really straight eyelashes, but they are thick and they are long. Now for her, we decided to do a lash lift in the past, and on top of the lash lift, after a few weeks, we are doing extensions. So in this tutorial, we'll link the lift below if you want to get details of how the lift process went. She was very happy with the results, but we wanted something more. She wanted more fullness, more fluffiness, so we did decide to do extensions for this day, I guess, tutorial. Now when she came back, her eyelashes were still nice and lifted, and the reason why we choose to do a lash lift before extensions, it could be two things. One thing for sure we want to recommend it is if a client has really long, thick, coarse eyelashes, but they're really straight. Because if you do an extension set on top of those eyelashes for that client, most likely they won't last long because the extensions would be kind of fighting the curl of the natural eyelash, and you would kind of see the natural eyelashes pointing down or still kind of showing underneath the extensions. It won't look ugly, it'll still look nice, but it's not gonna be the nicest that we want it to be. So a good solution to that is recommend a lash lift. Sometimes the clients are really happy with just those natural results because they already have nice lashes, and when you lift them, it makes a huge difference. Here's the before and after for this client. But then if they want something more after a few weeks, then they can come back and you can do extensions on top of that and they will get the best results. So for this client, they'll be coming about every 2 months for a lash lift, maybe even 2.5, 3 months, since they are regularly also getting extensions. That's kind of the process we would follow. Now it's up to you if you want to give them a discount, since it is an additional service for them. That's kind of what I would do. Yeah, so let's kind of jump into the procedures and tutorial for this wispy set for this client, and you guys can see the comparison of what her lashes look like just with the lift and also with extensions. So this tutorial, we are focusing on a wispy set. We are doing volume, but we are keeping it very light and natural, and we are going to isolate the layers, the top layer specifically, in order to achieve our wispy look. So we like to put about 2 millimeters longer in the top layer, and the rest of them about, the rest of the mapping, and we'll demonstrate the mapping in just a minute in order to get a nice wispy look. For this also, we're using light fans. We're using only 0.5 thickness lashes to create delicate, nice fans, and it's about 60 lashes. And what else do we need to know? Well, everything else we'll cover in the tutorial. So let's just really jump into it and dive in.
Here are her eyelashes before the extensions, but obviously she has had the lift already at this point. It's been a few weeks, but the lift still looks lifted. Wow, I said lift too many times, but here we go. So we are going to go ahead and tape the under eyelashes with the under eye patch, the white tape, clear tape, just like how we normally do to keep all of them secure. Keep in mind with taping bottom lashes, I mention it every time, but I am going to again in case this is the first video you're watching with me. We want to avoid putting the under eye patches or the tape too close or above the waterline, because this is when it can irritate the eye, make it red, itchy, even scratched inside of the eye. So be careful, keep it a little bit below, but make sure you are checking periodically that the under eye patch or tape hasn't lifted up. Check with your client, make sure it's not bothering them, adjust as needed, etc. A good indicator if your client is even shy to say something, or they think it's normal for their eye to tear or irritate or feel a little bit of discomfort, that's not normal. So make sure you're asking your client, and a good indicator is if they are tearing for whatever reason, something's uncomfortable, so make your adjustments. Pay attention right here. You see after taping, when she closes her eye, we do a minor adjustment and pull that outer corner edge down. This is a very important step for most clients because that part will feel a little bit too high. So make sure you're adjusting that just like you see in the video, but not pulling it down too much where you lift any of the bottom eyelashes loose. So after you do that little movement, make sure you're checking that none of those corner bottom lashes have come up. Next, we're going to prime the client's natural eyelashes. We are using the Yegi primer. This is the primer that could be used with any adhesive, and it pretty much sets and gets the eyelashes ready for them to bond and have a very long retention with the adhesive. Next, we are going to use the gold A-line tweezer in the moon shape in order to pull out the first layer of the client's natural eyelashes. Since we are doing our wispy set with the top layer being isolated for our wispy pieces, we do need to layer the eyelashes, and this is one way you could do it. We're using an under eye patch on top of the eyelashes, the sensitive tape to hold it in place if it's not being too sticky depending on the client's natural eyelash thickness. Then we're gonna pull out that top layer very slowly, very carefully to make sure that we can only isolate the top layer of the client's natural lashes where we will be placing our wispy pieces. Here is how we're grabbing the lashes off of the strip in order to create the spikes. We are not fanning them out. And here is how we're grabbing the lashes to fan them out at about 60 for each light fan. Now that we're done applying the first layer of the wispy pieces, we are going to go ahead and release that layering, and we're going to go ahead and apply the fans on the rest of the lashes. Now we are redoing the mapping for the fans. So remember, the fans are 2 millimeters shorter than the wispy pieces. So we are going to do that new mapping so we can follow the guide for the fans. Now for our volume fans, unlike the wispy pieces that are closed and together from these 0.05 lashes, we are going to fan them out nicely and apply nice delicate fans on the rest of her lashes so we can get a wispy, fluffy, yet a natural looking set. It is your choice how thick you want to make the wispy pieces and how big you want to make the fans for that client, but keep in mind, the bigger the fans, the fuller and darker it's gonna look and less wispy it's gonna look. Now when we feel like we are pretty much done with the set and it looks nice and full, almost all the lashes have extensions on them, we do want to use a lash mirror before they open their eyes to kind of see if we missed anything, and after that do like a last final check. There's usually a few more we can add, and the more you add, the nicer it'll look and the longer it will last, so take your time on checking. And if there is anything stuck together, you want to make sure you are also separating those lashes, removing anything that doesn't look right to really do the final touches. And that's kind of how the mirror helps, is even before they open their eyes, you can kind of see how the lashes are sitting. And if something's not quite sitting right, that's when you know to check that area. And here's the final look, a nice light wispy set.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and it's so fun to see the before and after, a lash lift compared to a set, so you guys can have something to talk to your clients about, the pros and cons of a lash lift versus extensions, and also if they are going to be clients who regularly do lash lifts on and then extensions on top. Now keep in mind, if you do perform a lash lift, you do want to wait at least 24 hours before you do the extensions on top to protect their natural lashes. And you want to make sure that you give your client enough time where they feel like they kind of felt out the lash lift before they do something more. Because lash lift alone for a client who has really nice thick eyelashes might be enough of a change. One other thing I observed is that when we do extensions on top of a lash lift, eyelashes seem to look longer than they normally are because they're sitting on top of lifted eyelashes. So keep that in mind and go maybe a couple of millimeters down compared to the normal sizes you would use for, let's say, a short length or a medium length. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Feel free to connect with us on all social platforms. I look forward to connecting with you. And until next time, check out yegibeauty.com for all your eyelash extensions, products and supplies, and make sure you are following us on Instagram, notifications on TikTok. We'll make sure we share as much as we can in order for you to be the best lashed artist, stylist as you can be. But until next time, bye.